YouTube, nous sommes repartis pour du Steelrising et nous allons donc valider toutes nos quêtes, les 600 quêtes que nous avons faites depuis un petit moment.
Madame.
Donc je vous laisse avec les 500 conversations qu'on va avoir.
Eh bien.
Your wife. You may rest easy, monsieur. Your wife escaped the massacre. She returned home and left you this letter.
Mon Dieu. She's going to meet our daughter and son-in-law at our charity hospital.
She may already be there.
Madame, I did not dare to dream of such an outcome. My wife and daughter. Can you imagine? And I thought I had lost both of them. The three of us will be able to leave the kingdom and put these horrors behind us forever.
What about the bonds?
Oh, the bonds. Do with them as you see fit. As long as the king does not use them. As for me, I'm going to find my family at once. Thank you. From the bottom of my heart. I pray that your efforts will be successful. Adieu, madame. Adieu.
Minister Necker has given his bonds to me.
That's quite a nice little sum. Can you imagine? That's 1/5.
Compris pourquoi ça met une croix sur rendez compte à monsieur Necker alors que je viens de le faire.
Ma foi.
Monsieur Necker certainly has been very generous to his adoptive country.
Generous? I have my doubts. The loan was granted at a very high rate. So high, in fact, that it would have dug the deficit into an even deeper state of abyss.
Eh bien, messieurs, to what use shall we employ this boonful fortune?
If I could spend it, I'd do everything I could to return to the people their confiscated freedom. To begin, I would get them the bread they so sorely need. It is only after the scourge of famine has been vanquished that armed patriots might then be able to rise up against despotism.
And where will you find wheat, Robespierre? Will you steal it from under the noses of the automats who have sworn to destroy the human race? As for arming the people, this is another one of your delusions. How could your ragged pack of wretches win any sort of battle that'd be unable to lift a sword?
When you insult the people, you insult me, Monsieur de Lafayette.
I am not insulting anyone, Robespierre. But I happen to know what it takes to fight. Unlike you. Monsieur, I was but a lad of 15 when I took up arms. And everyone here knows my role in the liberation of America from British rule. If you allow me to dispose of these bonds, I will found an army that will annihilate the Clockwork King's diabolical machines. As soon as I have the opportunity to leave Paris, I will rally the officers and troops that are stationed in the provinces. Then, I will call for a mass uprising. I will have more than enough money to pay their wages and procure the weapons we need.
And you will have obedient troops at your beck and call, ready to repress anyone who challenges your power.
These troops will only serve the will of the people. I swear it.
Are you sure that the king has spared the rest of the kingdom, Monsieur le Marquis?
I am almost certain of it, mon père. Despite all of his resources, the king does not have enough manpower to occupy all the garrisons in the country.
Aegis, no member of this assembly can force your hand. The choice is yours. To whom will you entrust Monsieur Necker's bonds?
Donc, soit on confie ça à Robespierre pour qu'il puisse nourrir le peuple et ensuite leur donner les armes pour se battre. Sauf que, bah, comme le disait Lafayette, le problème c'est que le blé actuellement il est occupé par les automates quoi. Et c'est pas moi qui vais aller chercher le blé, j'ai pas que ça à foutre dans ma vie, ok. Donc en soi la version de Robespierre, enfin la solution de Robespierre est pas folle, alors que la solution de Lafayette, même si ça lui fait une armée au final et qu'il peut très bien se retourner contre qui veut et que ça lui donnera encore plus de pouvoir, en soi c'est pas dégueu quoi. Former une armée avec les gens qui sont hors du territoire que le roi Louis a conquis actuellement et faire une armée avec ça pour se retourner contre lui, ouais c'est pas mal. Moi j'aime bien. Moi j'aime bien, on va faire ça. Hein. Vive la guerre, hein, après tout. Dans le jeu, hein, bien évidemment.
You've made the right choice, Dancer. Only professional soldiers and well-trained conscripts stand a chance of winning back the kingdom.
And of course, the people will have to kneel before their liberators. History will recall that sad day when we had to put our fate in the hands of an automat.
Oh,
If
calme-toi.
only her creator had given her a heart. Alas, she could not help but be blind to the people's misfortune.
Ouais, enfin. Alors attends. Toi, tu voulais nourrir le peuple pour lui donner les armes pour qu'ils aillent se faire charcuter par des automates. T'as cru que c'était mieux? Calme-toi, Robespierre. Hein. Genre, vite redescendre tes gonds là. Ah, pas la tête. Alors, présentez la boîte à monsieur de Bailey. Mince.
Monsieur Bailly. I found this box with astronomical symbols on it. I believe it belongs to Vaucanson's daughter.
Athénaïs' secret box. I built it with my own hands. It was my gift to her on her 15th birthday.
I wasn't able to open it.
Naturellement. Athénaïs and I are the only ones who know how. Allow me. You must arrange the planets the way they were aligned on the day of Athénaïs' birth. Voila, like this.
What's this locket?
Athénaïs is always wearing this. It contains a portrait of her late mother. She said it was her most cherished possession in all the world. To think, the poor child never knew her own mother.
You monster! What did you do to her?
Ah.
Good God. Ludia, what happened? You froze the moment you touched the locket. I thought I'd lost you.
I saw her. Athénaïs de Vaucanson. The Comte de Cagliostro has her.
Mon Dieu. It is just as I feared.
He bound her spirit to an automat.
Please, say no more. Athénaïs. It is her spirit that animates you.
Bah apparemment, hein.
Yes. I believe so.
Seigneur, quelle abomination. It is vital that you go and find Athénaïs as soon as possible.
She is right in front of you. I am Athénaïs.
Alas, I fear that is not entirely accurate. You know nothing of Athénaïs, Ludia. Nothing of her past, her joys, her suffering. Nothing of her love for her father. You are but the vessel that harbors the poor child's soul.
Where can I find Athénaïs' body?
God only knows. Although I assume that the Comte de Cagliostro is taking pains to keep her alive, this is certainly the only way to keep her spirit alive in you. The only way to free her is to find her body.
Why was Eugène de Vaucanson imprisoned in the Bastille?
Once he discovered the king's true intentions, he refused to continue cooperating with him. He refused to use his talents to create this abominable army. But the king didn't take kindly to his resignation. Eugène did manage to get a letter to me just before he was arrested. Here, take it.
Alors, message d'Eugène de Vaucanson. Mon cher Bailey, c'est en secret et en très grande hâte que je vous rédige ce billet. Que Dieu veille sur le messager mécanique que je charge de te le faire parvenir. Ils se sont emparés de ma personne et n'ont pas fait le mystère du sort qui m'est réservé. Je vais être conduit à la Bastille, où ils entendent me contraindre à livrer mes ultimes secrets. Par chance, Athénaïs a pu leur échapper, mais ils ne manqueront pas de lui donner la chasse. Voilà son secours si tu le peux. Si elle tombe entre leurs mains, ils en feront un instrument de chantage. Sois cependant certain qu'ils n'obtiendront plus rien de moi. Dussé-je y laisser la vie. Adieu ton ami Eugène. Un médaillon. Ok, bah dis donc on en apprend. Pas si mal finalement la fin des quêtes secondaires.
Monsieur Raymond.
Go on, Aegis.
I went to the Hotel de SOCIAUX as agreed. What I discovered goes beyond your darkest conjectures. The club's members have no intention of merely depriving their slaves of rest. Rather, with the king's support, they plan to replace them with automat harvesters. The Count of Cagliostro is behind the plan.
Ma foi. But such a plan would certainly only improve the lot of these unfortunate people.
You are mistaken, mon père. If the planters get their way, they will have a greater need of slaves than ever. Only this time, they intend to slaughter them to power their machines.
Quelle abomination!
Par tous les saints.
4 days ago, the Paris Guard captured 100 black people. They were to be sacrificed as part of an experiment to test the effectiveness of the automat harvesters. Luckily, I was able to prevent the massacre.
Where are they now?
In a place they call the Dépôt des Noirs. I don't know where it is, but I managed to get the key. It bears the inscription, Tour du Diable.
The Devil's Tower is a prison in Vincennes, within the chateau walls.
That's 3 leagues from here. We'll only be able to free the prisoners once we're able to move freely ourselves.
At least they were spared the fate that the king and his accomplices had planned for them.
And what will you do with the 2 servants you employ, Monsieur Raymond?
I will continue to treat them well, as I always have.
However, under the laws you insist on following, they will become slaves again the moment they leave the kingdom for Saint-Domingue.
Certainly not, Monsieur de Robespierre. What kind of a man would I be if what I have heard had not opened my eyes? The planters of Sanjak have been proven to be nothing but avaricious murderers. I thought I was dealing with opposition, but now I discover them to be vile enemies, from whom it would be vain to expect any compromise. From this day on, I will fight against their interests with all my strength, and will not lay down my arms until the last slave in the Empire has been freed.
Rest assured, then, that the people will fight by your side, Monsieur Raymond.
That's the spirit, my friends. Vive l'égalité! Can I help you, Aegis?
What is the significance of these objects steeped in memories?
Nemes. I have reread every work that I have on them. Pages that have remained unintelligible to this day. These echoes go back to the beginning of time, to that fateful day in ancient Greece when some dark magician took it into his head to bind a soul to an inanimate object. You see, Aegis, there is nothing more diabolical, nothing more unnatural than this sorcery. The soul is the very essence of the divine. It refuses to submit to such an abomination and resists, eventually breaking. The earliest necromancers whose works have survived through the centuries all describe the same phenomenon. When a soul is fragmented, 3 shards of memory are torn from its consciousness and take shelter in 3 objects that the victim held dear. It's as if these memories wished to remain bound to the mortal who had held them until then.
I found this notebook written in Latin.
Indeed. Medieval Latin, to be precise. Oh, hold on. Bon sang. Aegis, what a find. This handwriting. I would recognize it anywhere. It's in Nicolas Flamel's own hand. Give me some time to study this, and I'll tell you what I'm able to glean from it.
Have you finished reading the notebook, mon père?
Yes, Aegis, and what I learned from it puzzles me. In this diary, Flamel tells of 3 journeys. 3 journeys into what he calls the in-between. A strange world filled with wandering souls. Tormented spirits that are unable to ascend to heaven.
This world. It's where Cagliostro's victims were trapped until I freed them.
En effet, I believe you're right. But that's not all. Flamel planned to return there a 4th time. He wrote this in the final paragraph, in his handwriting, dated 21st of March 1418. That was the day before he died, Aegis. What if his body died while his soul was traveling through limbo? What if he were trapped, a prisoner in this purgatory? Aegis, because of your unique nature, we have an incredible opportunity.
What do you mean, mon père?
If the soul that animates you has been bound to the automaton that serves as its vessel, then it can be separated from it too. And if this were the case, the soul would travel to purgatory, where Cagliostro entraps the souls of his victims.
Hold on. Are you trying to convince me to go and find Nicolas Flamel?
I'm offering you a chance to speak to the man who discovered the Philosopher's Stone. Surely you won't pass it up.
Assuming I agree to venture into Purgatory, do I even have a chance of finding him there?
Certainly. According to this journal, the soul flies to the zenith of the place where it left the body of the deceased. Or that of the pilgrim, in this case. If Flamel's soul is trapped in Purgatory, as we've guessed, you'll need to go to the house where he drew his dying breath.
Is it still standing?
Of course. It's on Rue de Montmorency, in the quartier de l'Hôtel de Ville. You can get there via the cemetery of the Église Sanjak.
And how do you plan to free my
c'est là où
spirit
c'était
from
fermé
this
tout à l'heure.
automat?
We would simply need to break the bond between them. To do this, we would need to stop your machinery. For a short time, of course. We don't want to lose you, ma chère. As for the rest, it will be a question of mechanics, chemistry, or electric currents, or something or other. Therein lies the problem. This is far beyond my comprehension. But it is fascinating, isn't it? Perhaps Monsieur Bailly and Monsieur Lavoisier could shed some light on the matter.
Goodbye, mon père. Monsieur Bailly, do you think there is any way to interrupt my internal clockwork?
A most unusual thought. What do you have in mind, Aegis?
I would like to briefly sever the bond between my spirit and this automat.
It is a very strange request, madame. For what purpose do you seek to free your soul from its shell?
According to the abbot, my spirit would then be able to visit Purgatory.
Oh, that dreadful place. Why on earth would you want to go there?
I hope to find answers to some very important questions.
You must understand, madame, that your very nature is a mystery to us. We are ignorant as to the principle that imbues you with life, nor do we know how your machinery works. That is why it is impossible for us to make even the slightest alteration. It would mean taking an unacceptable risk. Of course, if we had documents that could shed light on the matter.
Antoine, the blueprints.
What blueprints, mon ami?
Ludia's. Eugène gave them to me when he was working on the modifications ordered by the king. He wanted my opinion on the potential for reducing the size of certain key parts. The documents are obsolete now, but they could tell us quite a bit about the mechanical principles that are shared by Ludia and Aegis.
Bon sang, you're right. Where are the blueprints now?
Alas, the situation is not in our favor. I kept them in the safe at the observatory. But earlier, when I went there to collect my most important documents, before setting off for the convent, I found looters making off with its contents.
Blasted scavengers. Their kind are always quick to make the most of chaos.
I chased them to the quays, but was unable to apprehend them. When they disappeared into an underground passageway under the Louvre, I decided it was best not to follow them.
You acted wisely, mon ami. The automats are everywhere, and the marauders don't stand much of a chance.
I'll try to track them down.
Ok, bon. Encore des quêtes secondaires qui s'ajoutent. Est-ce que j'ai quelque chose encore à faire ici ou pas? J'ai l'impression, hein. Je crois que j'ai tout rendu. J'ai tout rendu. J'ai plein d'objets de quête. Carte de Paris. Ça me paraît des plans de Ludia. Des tuileries. Du coup en fait j'en ai qu'une. Le reste ça va être tout à Montmartre. Là on sait qu'il y en a à Montmartre, mais vu que j'ai pas fait l'aventure, bah du coup on les voit pas encore. Souvenir du dauphin. Ouais. Ça sera sûrement après. Montmartre. Ça c'est la quête que je vais faire. Ça c'est à Montmartre. C'est à la Bastille qu'Aegis saura ce qu'il est devenu de la poudre de monsieur Lavoisier. Et la Bastille, bah on l'a pas encore débloqué. Donc ça nous spoil un endroit. Ok. Ok. Eh bien continuons. C'est dommage que par contre de faire les quêtes secondaires, ça rapporte que dalle en termes de récompense. Genre sur toutes les quêtes que j'ai rendues, j'ai eu 2 fois 500 âmes, je crois, c'est tout. Ou une fois, je sais même pas. Et il n'y a pas de stuff, il n'y a pas de matériaux. C'est que de l'histoire en fait. Alors c'est cool, ça nous apprend plein de trucs, on comprend plein de trucs. Mais bon, ça aurait été bien de nous récompenser un peu plus quoi, d'avoir fait les quêtes secondaires. Avec du concret. Eh bien, retournons encore aux Tuileries. On va encore devoir aller au niveau du Louvre, je crois. Je sais plus où est-ce qu'il veut qu'on aille, mais j'imagine que ça va être à peu près au même endroit. Ou si, c'est là qu'il disait par rapport au cimetière, non? Est-ce que c'était cet endroit? Je sais plus. Et du coup, oui, c'est ça. S'emparer des plans de Ludia. Je sais pas si c'est une bonne idée de passer par là. Ouais, si. Ça m'a l'air d'être ok. Ah, il va peut-être nous faire passer par le cloaque. Sûrement. Je crois que ça va être ça le plan du jeu. Ouais, il va nous faire passer par le cloaque. Le cloaque du Louvre, exactement. Alors qu'est-ce qu'on a? Une ouverture, mais ça sera de l'autre côté, ok. Non. Oula, mais j'ai pris super cher. Les petits endroits comme ça, c'est pas facile. C'est pas facile.
Bon Dieu de bon Dieu,
Ah, ça fait un mal de chien. Faire les dents, le cloud. Je suis quand même amoché, et puis quoi? Cette galerie est une vraie mine d'or, et ce qu'on a ramassé, on va être tranquille pour un bon bout de temps. Parler à un pillard. Tiens. Messieurs, hein? Voilà. On s'en fichons le camp en vitesse. Cours le Claude, cours si tu en es encore capable. Oh malheur, je vous ai bien dit qu'on allait se faire prendre. Ok, donc il y a bel et bien les pillards ici. Le Claude. Courez le Claude, courez. Voilà. Une araignée, 2 trompettistes. Où ça va mal se passer. Faudrait que je focus l'araignée en prums. Non. Oh. Ils ok. Ça va, on lui a mis cher à l'araignée. On lui a mis même très très cher. Intéressant. Le jeu a plutôt l'air de nous dire d'aller ici. Ouais, d'aller en haut. Il y a un passage en bas apparemment. Je bloque le raccourci. Bah, allons visiter en bas. Hein. Peut-être découvrir des secrets antiques. Deux ennemis au mur. Oh, j'ai counter l'éclair. Je crois que c'était possible ça. Je me suis quand même pris les dégâts de l'éclair, mais j'ai counter l'éclair. Intéressant. Gueuse de fonte. Ah, tout ça pour 2 gueuses de fonte. Très bien. Là, on peut counter. On peut counter un élément quoi. Ok. Mais on se le prend quand même dans la gueule.
Looters from the observatory. Poor souls. They didn't stand a chance.
Oula. Oulala, oulala, oulala. Mon énergie se recharge. Oh sérieux, je l'ai pas touché. Il est resté un HP. What the fuck? C'est vachement tanky lui. Besoin de retour au carrosse. Again. Again and again. Ouais bon au final c'est pas mal qu'il ait fait ça. Plan d'un automate. Jean de Ludia. Par chance ils sont demeurés en excellent état. Monsieur Bellier en sera enchanté. Ok. Ah oui du coup. Que ces bruits. J'entends un automate. Du coup là par contre on est obligé de tous retaper là si on veut sortir pour le coup. Du coup ah oui mais non parce qu'on a débloqué un raccourci mais vas-y flemme. On va utiliser le... Ouais, parce que là faut qu'on se barre. On va utiliser le machin là. Ça me va bien, ça me va bien. Message. Jean-Sylvain Belly, monsieur, voici les plans que vous réclamiez. Vos voleurs n'auront guère profité de leur larcin. Ils ont connu un funeste destin. Répondre. Un funeste destin, dites-vous? Ces pauvres diables ne méritaient sans doute pas un sort aussi définitif. Qu'aurait-il fait de ces documents? Grâce à Dieu, monsieur Lavoisier et moi-même en avons tiré de précieux enseignements. Nous avons localisé le système de minuterie archaïque qui permettait à monsieur de Vaucanson de prévoir à l'avance les durées des balais donnés par Ludia. Or, nous avons la certitude que ce mécanisme est demeuré en place. En inversant sa position, nous pourrions établir un temps d'inactivité au cours duquel votre esprit se trouverait séparé de votre corps mécanique. Cependant, il faut que vous puissiez effectuer cette opération sans notre assistance. Nous procédions sur vous à une modification, la mise en place d'une goupille qui vous suffira doter au moment propice. Je vous prie, pour ce faire, de regagner au plus vite le couvent des Cordeliers. Ouais, bah ok. J'arrive. Ils vont me démonter, mais j'arrive. Jing jing. Bonjour à tous.
Monsieur Bailly, here are the blueprints you asked for.
Good heavens. You found them.
Your thieves were not able to profit much from their theft. They met with an unfortunate end.
Oh, the poor souls. Their crimes did not deserve such a permanent ending.
Certainly, certainly. Let us look at these documents now, if you will.
No, Antoine, the F-wheel is not part of the cog that transfers the driving force to the escapement.
Diable, you're right. It's driven by the B-wheel, and its axis is on the shaft that's visible at this point.
Precisely. In fact, the shaft sits between the conical bearing and the small groove here. See?
True. It's decided then. All we would have to do is separate these two plates to disable the entire thing.
And to put them back in place at the agreed time to start the machine again.
You will not be able to assist me. I have to do it alone. Half a league away.
You must be joking.
By no means. You'll have to find another solution.
Unfortunately, madame, you're asking us to do the impossible.
Oh, ça, par exemple.
Once your spirit is untethered from this automat, it will be impossible for you to start the machine up again.
Hold on, my dear Antoine. Is this device in Figure 4? Is it still in place?
Yes, it is. What of it?
Bon sang. It's a timer. It's primitive, true, but fully functional.
The dial has marks from 1 to 15. Probably minutes.
It was to allow Eugène to plan the duration of Ludia's dances in advance.
Oh, I see. And by reversing the position of this peg in the center, we could instead turn it into a period of inactivity.
Nous y sommes, mon ami. Fantastic.
Will Aegis be able to operate this device herself?
We'll make it easier for her. All you have to do is put a bolt there that she can remove when the time is right. Yes, a small iron rod will suffice. We won't have any trouble finding something that will do. When the timer dial reaches 0, the automat will come back to life. However, given the dial's fragility, we will probably get only one chance to try this.
Are you sure that the bond between my soul and this machine will be re-established?
Ma foi, I admit that we can't be sure of this. What do you say, mon père?
Don't be afraid, Aegis. Unless I've been wrong from the beginning, your soul will seek refuge in the only body it has available to it in this world.
Well then, shall we start the preparations?
Let's begin. My fate is in your hands, monsieur.
Voila. Everything is in place. When it's time, just pull on this metal loop to start the timer.
Remember, you will have 15 minutes and no more before your spirit returns to your body. We wish you good luck, madame.
Remember, to get to Rue de Montmorency, you're best going through the cemetery behind the Église Sanjak in the Quartier de l'Hôtel de Ville. Here is the key to the gate. Our prayers are with you, my child.
C'est quand même bizarre ce qui s'est passé juste avant. Là, on a envoyé la lettre à Bailey, on en a discuté et en fait là, et à la fin de la lettre, il nous dit de venir le voir, je crois. On vient le voir et ça fait comme si on lui avait jamais parlé de la lettre ni rien. Et il redit ce qu'il a dit dans la lettre et en plus on lui file les plans alors qu'on lui avait déjà filé grâce au message. En fait, c'est mal foutu. C'est un peu de la merde. J'aimerais m'assurer avant de partir qu'en reparlant à tout le monde, est-ce qu'il n'y a pas genre des quêtes secondaires qui sont... Faudra que non, ça sera après. Des quêtes secondaires qui sont des nouvelles quêtes secondaires quoi.
So how is Monsieur He is your only he's hold.
Les boulets creux, la fin des états généraux.
Oui madame. We late so he at least we
on avait déjà vu. Le boulet creux ça sera Montmartre je crois. Mirabeau.
Monsieur de Mirabeau.
Ah bah tiens mais c'est Mirabeau. C'est l'enfoiré. On avait froissé là, enfin qu'on avait... Ah bah tiens, on lui reparle des trucs.
Well, I never. Yes, I know the owner.
Ah oui, ça on avait déjà eu.
To bet you're looking for a certain François Antoine.
Mais non, c'est autre chose ça.
Well, you'd need to look a little further east, mademoiselle. Across the Rhine, for a start.
Ah oui, c'était le seul mec à qui j'avais pas parlé par rapport à la canne.
To a certain Franz Anton Mesmer.
Oh, Mesmer.
Mesmer, the prince of charlatans.
Good heavens, it's been a long time since I've heard his name.
5 years to be exact since your learned commission denounced his theories.
It wasn't long after that when he disappeared.
Can you tell me more about Mesmer?
He was a mystical healer who was once popular with the upper class.
Je comprends pas pourquoi Mirabeau il est revenu en fait.
You mentioned a commission.
The king did not look kindly on the healer's popularity within the court. This led him to appoint a commission from the Royal Academy of Sciences.
an institution to which Monsieur Bailly and I have the honor to belong. We were asked to investigate his alleged powers.
The experiments that we performed allowed us to determine that Monsieur Mesmer's activities were pure charlatanism, a conclusion that destroyed his successful career the moment it was published.
But there was something, Sylvain, a tiny flow of energy that my devices were able to measure.
My dear colleague, must I remind you again that we were never able to reproduce your observations? It was obviously a momentary failure of your equipment.
Perhaps. I'd like to be sure of it.
When and how did Monsieur Mesmer disappear?
The denunciation of his techniques was the start of a long descent into hell for Monsieur Mesmer. He was abandoned by his clients and resumed his research in virtual secrecy. I think he was hoping to perfect his so-called science and restore his reputation with the Academy.
A hope that led him to associate himself with that dastardly Cagliostro. God only knows what experiments they may have carried
Non,
out.
moi j'ai lu les lettres et il voulait
The
pas.
collaboration did not last long. Monsieur Mesmer left the kingdom overnight to return to his mother country.
Why did he leave so quickly?
That is a mystery. But those who saw him that morning say it was as if he
Il
had the
voulait
devil
pas,
at
il
his
voulait
heels.
pas, il voulait pas
This
les
is true.
aider.
He left in such a hurry that he abandoned everything he owned. Furniture, belongings, and scientific equipment. And it seems that Cagliostro has inherited this treasure.
Is that so? Well, if what you say is true, that broken cane must have passed into the Count's hands.
Yes, it's likely.
This adventurer from who knows where is quite the mysterious character. And he has been very busy recently. I've been able to observe him from my apartment, making frequent visits to Rue Saint-Honoré, on the Tuileries side. I wonder what he was doing there.
What were Monsieur Mesmer's theories?
He is a proponent of a theory called animal magnetism. He claimed to be able to channel a purported universal healing fluid by passing his hands over patients and using magnets.
He also cobbled together a whole array of mad devices, each stranger than the last. Unfortunately, despite all his attempts, I don't know that he ever cured anyone.
What happened during Monsieur Mesmer's treatment sessions?
Oh, they were quite a spectacle to behold. Imagine well-born ladies afflicted with perfectly imaginary illnesses. A dimly lit room where incense has been burned to intoxicate the soul and cloud your vision. Amiable servants, half-dressed, gliding from countess to duchess to the sound of a sensual melody. And the great Mesmer, a doctor with wandering hands, presiding over the wonderful scene. Oh, you should have seen them. Those grand ladies moaning, crying, and falling into a swoon, clinging to that strange tub. Du théâtre, ma chère. Pure theatre.
OMG, Mesmer le charlatan. Ok.
Monsieur Raymond.
Go on,
Monseigneur.
What can I do?
Good.
Ali. Can I help you, Aegis?
Good.
Goodbye, my lover.
Monsieur le Marquis.
I'm listening.
Monsieur le Marquis.
Good.
Ok. Donc du coup, il nous reste encore cette quête qui continue. Il va falloir qu'on aille derrière le cimetière des Tuileries. Donc on doit retourner encore une fois aux Tuileries. Again and again. Peut-être qu'un jour on continuera la quête principale. Mais ça sera très certainement au prochain épisode. Ah non, on est à la cité, autant pour moi. Rejoindre les limbes. Ça, la cité, je me suis trompé. Bref, c'est pareil dans tous les cas. On n'avance pas, quoi. Mais par contre, je me demande ce que c'est cette quête, parce que ça me paraît gros quand même pour être une quête secondaire. Ça me paraît d'être un gros morceau du scénario quand même, de la narration. Quand même chelou que ça soit une quête secondaire. La traversée dans les limbes là. Rejoindre les limbes. Normalement on devrait y accéder assez vite. Normalement. Prendre le Vestal. Au cas où il nous arrive des bricoles. Ok. On revient à la Vestale du cimetière. Hop. Bon, du coup, il doit y avoir 2 mobs ici. Ah non, 3. Trop tôt, comme d'hab. Et on ouvre cette porte. Clé du cimetière. Photo. Oula. What the fuck? Je prends cher. Et je suis électrisé. Ok. C'est chaud. J'ai été électrocutifié. J'ai des fioles de résistance à la foudre, mais c'est bon. On n'utilise pas les objets là. Par les grenades contre les mobs, contre les boss. Flemme. Flemme d'utiliser les autres. Il y a encore une araignée. Bien évidemment, sinon c'est pas drôle. Je vois du trompettiste. Ah non, c'est pas des trompettistes, c'est des violons. Des violoncellistes. Des violonistes. Oh, c'était une belle esquive ça. Aïe. Oh, c'était des comptes de merde ça. Ah, dis donc. C'est des beaux comptes de merde. Oh, encore un beau compte de merde. Aïe. Enfin, il m'a touché. C'est une honte. C'est une honte. Parce que je viens de me prendre dans la gueule quand même là. Ah, l'électricité ça rigole zéro. C'est beaucoup trop fort. Il va falloir que je sois un petit peu plus prudent là parce que je prends quand même très cher. Qu'est-ce qu'on a? Parce que du coup ça continue là-bas. Il y a aussi un accès là. Ok, la suite a l'air d'être là-bas. C'est quoi ici? Ça a l'air d'être un raccourci. Ouais, c'est un raccourci. Ça va être sûrement pour repartir plus rapidement. Mais bon, on utilisera très certainement un jeton de carrosse pour repartir. Ah, une vestale, parfait. Ça me plaît. Amélioration. Amélioration de quoi? J'ai 9000 âmes. Ah, amélioration dernier palier de notre arme. Oui, parce qu'on a assez de blocs de bismuth, on a assez d'âmes. Ouais, bah allons-y, améliorons-la. Affinité élémentaire, ouais, je vais y arriver, et pas alimentaire en S. Bon, on n'a pas de... On n'a rien pour... On n'a rien qui scale quoi, on a rien augmenté mais bon. L'ingénierie. C'est pas grave. Au moins il fera un peu plus de dégâts. Et peut-être que ça se stackera mieux même sur les gros mobs. Jeton retour de carrosse. Tiens. Again and again. Plus de Montmorency. Billet adressé au maçon Landrin. Monsieur Landrin, je vous prie de venir comme convenu combler le trou voisin de mon établissement. Apprenez que des pillards ont une fois de plus emprunté ce passage pour piller les réserves entreposées dans la cave de mon établissement. Cette situation navrante exige votre intervention immédiate. Émile Cotin, grenetier établi rue de Montmorency, en lacis devant maison de l'alchimiste. Ah, encore des sous-sols. Again and again. Again and again and again. Une cave. Ça me fume, le nom de la zone. Une nouvelle zone, une cave. Bien. Oh waouh. Oh, c'est des limbes. Je vais exploser, je me suis dégoupillé, pardon.
Monsieur.
Zounds! Praise be to the Holy Mother of our Lord, at last thou speakest! Gentle dame, you have erred here for so long, not a word uttered. In singular contemplation of such terrible slaughter.
A long time, you say? That's not possible, sir. I've just now appeared to you.
Nay, thou must trust me. And thou wast hardly alone in this limbo. There were many travelers, stiff and silent, all in agony. All bound to the anchor stone.
What travelers do you speak of?
The first to arrive was a sobbing child searching for his mother. After him, many a damned soul carrying their own heads in hand. Then those whose thoughts passed through me. A minister of God tormented by doubt.
Hold on. A minister of God? Monseigneur de la Fare?
A scholar with soul star-filled, and a learned master of alchemy.
Monsieur Bailly and Monsieur Lavoisier.
A usurer who shed so many tears for his lady.
Monsieur Necker, mourning his wife.
All bound to the anchor stone. Wretched souls, their ascension to the heavens repelled.
The anchor stone, monsieur?
Lapis philosophorum.
The philosopher's stone.
Aye! Vile knave who took it for his own lately. No count is he but that of trespass and perfidy.
Cagliostro.
Well met. The rope for this varlet and I shall be avenged. The anchor stone keeps the travelers in this limbo and makes them masters of the Iron Titans. From the defunct springs the fire that burns inside these demons. Lanterns of the dead, witchcraft of the blackest sort.
The terrible slaughter. You say I was just observing the massacres?
Aye. Vile, innumerable crimes. The devil's own accursed titans and their restless horde. They drinketh from the lake where the souls of the dead sleep. Men and women offered in sacrifice to feed the pyre. Then the terrible maw was opened, and in flowed legion of the dead. Ne'er hast I seen such and so many here during all my stay. Oh! The stone is verily mine dark confine. Lonely, so lonely, that mine vessel is no more, and my soul still cloistered in this place. Alack, I do despair of ever ascending to heaven. Gentle dame, I prithee do shatter mine stone.
You want me to break the stone that contains your soul? Is that what you're asking me to do?
Aye, my God, I beg thee.
Do you know where this stone is? You've been buried for more than 3 centuries, monsieur.
The precious jewel, sublime treasure, was inscribed in my legacy, my testament. On my tomb engraved, gentle dame, on the tomb!
What a strange
Eh ben,
encounter.
regagner le couvent des Cordeliers. Ne sais pas en rendre compte à l'abbé Grégoire. Ok, c'est une sacrée quête, cette quête de la pierre philosophale. Un antique parchemin, si grand malheur n'advient, vous prie ardemment, Ambroise et Roland, très honestes disciples, de clore à jamais mienne officine. Sans rien emporter ni rien mouvoir, muraille basse tirée, pour que nul jamais plus ni pénètre, terrer nos communes arcanes. Mortel péril aux mains des ignorants, prierez Dieu que sa grâce fasse pardon aux pauvres pécheurs trépassés, vos maîtres. Sur Nicolas Flamel, en plus il parle full en vieux François du coup là. L'âme du corps libérée n'endure nulle nécessité terrestre, ainsi pierre philosophale comble moindre désir, le bien heureux pèlerin des limbes ne convoite point l'or des princes fat et triste, mort ne redoute plus ni ne pleure désolante vie carnelle. En ceci, la dive pierre ancre est le plus grand trésor. Car l'imparfait purifiera, du soleil père de tous les métaux et de lune leur mère dépend le magistère, ne transmurera que ce que l'on a ramené à sa matière primaire, des philosophes. Le soufre et le mercure, le sage ne verra point comme un aveugle dans le doute et l'obscurité. Eh bien. Ok, je pense qu'on a fait le tour ici. Ok. Je pense qu'on peut se casser avec une pierre, avec pas une pierre. Que dis-je? Parce que là il n'y a pas de raccourci ici. Hein. C'est fermé, du coup on doit tous retaper. Un petit jeton là, hop là. De toute façon on en a regagné un il n'y a pas longtemps. Et dans tous les cas c'est fait pour ça. Retournons une ultime fois, j'espère, au couvent. Bon, bah, je pense au couvent, on va y revenir plusieurs fois. Parce que bon, on n'a pas encore terminé le jeu. Mais au moins pour les quêtes secondaires. Enfin quoi qu'il faut encore qu'on trouve la pierre philosophale en fait. Donc il y a au moins encore une... Encore au moins un aller-retour à mon avis.
Can I help you, Aegis?
The plan worked as we had hoped. My spirit left my body and I traveled to the in-between.
This is extraordinary. It confirms all my theories.
You were right about the rest, too. Nicolas Flamel's soul had never left the in-between.
Mon Dieu, 4 centuries. What a fearsome fate. Were you able to speak with this unfortunate soul?
Yes, mon père. He claimed that I had been in purgatory for a long time, but had never spoken until then.
Please, go on.
He said he had met other visitors. Based on his descriptions, he was speaking of Monseigneur de la Fare, Minister Necker, Monsieur Bailly and Monsieur Lavoisier. They all seemed unaware of his presence. All bound to the anchor stone. Those were his words.
All those whom Cagliostro turned into his homicidal playthings. Yes, it is just as I thought. The subject has the impression of being the automat it is bound to, but his soul remains in the in-between world.
Mon père, Monsieur Flamel begged me to free him from purgatory. He has suffered for too long.
How can we help him?
If he is to be believed, we would simply have to break his stone.
Of course, the Philosopher's Stone. The anchor stone that keeps him in the in-between. But where could it be after all this time?
Look at this, mon père. These are Philosopher's Stones made by Cagliostro's hand. Do they look familiar?
Heavens, they do. Ages. The ancient chalice of Sanjak is adorned with a similar stone. It was entrusted to me by the parish priests, along with some other relics. I stored it in a reliquary chest in this very room. Here's the key. Go. Let us not waste a second more.
Goodbye, mon père.
Ok, dernier objectif, détruire la pierre de Nicolas Flamel. Je sais pas depuis quand j'ai redémarré la VOD, dans le doute je vais faire un stop. Du coup des bisous sur YouTube et on se retrouve au prochain épisode pour détruire cette pierre et probablement mettre enfin fin à cette quête secondaire. Ciao ciao.